Hello, how are you? How is everyone? Welcome to AVJ, Alternative Venues for Jazz, founded by our fearless leader, Gail Boyd. Also, my business partner with Vanguard Arts, which is an arts consulting firm. We are so excited to have in our presence today two producers, Rashida Ladner Seward and Todd Seward, both produce the Staten Island Jazz Festival. So, first, we want to welcome them. Hello, how are you guys today?
Hello.
Hello, and thank you for allowing us to be here today. We're great.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we're excited. We want to start by talking about the Staten Island Jazz Festival, and I want to say to our listeners and our viewers, make sure you see the chyron that's scrolling below because it has the link to the Staten Island Jazz Festival, which is happening this weekend. On Saturday, excuse me, on Saturday, December. Oops, what happened here? On Saturday, December 20th at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. So let's start with talking about something that we were just mentioning. The Staten Island Jazz Festival. I'm emphasizing jazz because you guys, when you see it written, it's jazz is all in caps. Can you tell us a little bit about that, where that comes from? And then
Yes, certainly.
Another question.
Yeah, we didn't always do it that way, but I think about 2010, something clicked. My mother, Saja Musawir Ladner, who founded the Jazz Festival back in 1988, really thought about how all-encompassing and diverse the music discipline of jazz is. And one of the things that we had as part of the festival for many years pre-COVID was not just music. We had dance, we had workshops, we had the art component. You see behind me, there's a Romeo Bearden picture, a collage, and Bearden has been a big part of our journey with the Staten Island Jazz Festival. So we thought about it as multidisciplinary and wanted to capitalize the word jazz because it really is a huge part of the fabric of America. It was part of the culture of American music. It was founded here. It's part of Black culture. And we really just wanted to emphasize that word jazz. And so hence Staten Island Jazz Festival with all caps. And we've been doing it ever since.
Which is amazing. That's 37 years. Very few things last that long. And you mentioned that your mom founded the Staten Island Jazz Festival. Can you talk a little bit about how you have now continued this legacy, how you have brought your vision to the festival and what we can expect to see this weekend?
Yeah, my mom founded it. Both my parents grew up in Harlem. And when my oldest sister was young, moved out here to Staten Island. And they really felt like Staten Island was lacking some of the culture that they saw in Harlem. And my mom really wanted to bring jazz, a genre that both my parents enjoyed, here to Staten Island with world-class musicians. And the very first concert had the late Leopoldo F. Fleming and the late Makonda Ken McIntyre as headliners. These were people that my mom knew. She was very heavy in the arts community, particularly dance. She was a costume designer, and she got to meet a lot of people through her work, working with dance companies and musicals and things of that nature. And so fast forward to today, she had a lot of people work with her over the years. Danny Mixon, Winard Harper, we had the late Randy Weston, Barry Harris, Kenny Barron. So really people who were pioneers in the music, who changed the music, graced the stage. And when she passed, there was a void. I was like, how do I do this? Where do we go? What do we do? And fortunately, Dr. Daryl Smith, in the couple of years prior to my mom passing, our musical director had curated some of the musicians. So having that relationship with Daryl allowed us to continue to connect with people from the musical community, from the jazz community, to bring them to Staten Island. And I think one of the things that's been part of our vision, we want to pay homage to those people who have been part of the, I want to say, the tapestry of the Staten Island Jazz Festival over the years. But we also wanted to bring new individuals who maybe Staten Islanders had never experienced to Staten Island. And so starting in 2022, we brought Nat Adderley, for example. I don't remember if he had been to Staten Island. I don't think so.
Nat Adderley Jr.
Yes.
Nat Adderley Jr.
The junior, yes.
The junior. Last year, we had an all-women's jazz fest that featured Brandy Younger, Ola Tuja, Lakeisha Benjamin, Camille Thurman. And we just said, how can we bring more and more of the depth and breadth of artistic excellence to Staten Island? And that's really our vision. We want to bring back some of those folks that helped make the festival great. But we also want to bring some new and younger talent in many ways to the stage as well. And that's really important to us. I was listening to something on BGO yesterday. I can't remember who was being interviewed, but she mentioned that the words preservation are always connected to jazz. And I do believe that that is something we're trying to do. But there is also a really talented new and next generation of musicians that are keeping this music amplified. And so we want to honor them as well.
Yeah, and just to echo Rashida's sentiments, we've had, and as she said in the past, several NEA jazz masters perform at the festival. And when her mom started the festival out, it was really a locally based festival that mostly only Staten Islanders attended. But over the years, we've been expanding, and part of our vision is to make this a regional destination event and pull people in from all over the tri-state. Particularly, we want to start with the other boroughs. Oftentimes people think of Staten Island as somewhere remote and far. It's very accessible. If you're in Manhattan or Brooklyn, Staten Island Ferry is a wonderful ride, and the theater's a 5-minute walk from the ferry. So that objective, and I want to emphasize that, the St. George Theater, which is one of the most beautiful theaters in the city of New York, it's a work of art in of itself. That theater is literally a 5-minute walk from the ferry. And as Rashida said, the artists that we're having, and this year's lineup represents all of what she's talked about. We have some artists in this year's lineup who are more seasoned and have been around for performing for many years and are very well known. And we've got some new up and coming artists who are really making a name for themselves. We have a Sarah Vaughan vocalist winner. Did I say that correctly? That group very, very proud. Sounds of April and Randall, who are performing this year. And we also, on the other end of the spectrum, we have Arturo Farrell and Wycliffe Gordon, veterans of this genre, and Miss Brianna Thomas as well. So we want to give our audience a diversity of experience. And as Rashida said, give the newer, younger artists a platform to perform in. And we're extremely excited. We really are encouraging people to come out and take advantage of this very affordable opportunity.
Yeah, may I say?
And talking about affordable, why don't we let our viewers know what the entry is? How much? If they're going to take the ferry over, that's a few dollars. That's easy.
Ferry is free. They may have to take the subway and pay, I don't know, what is it, $3 or whatever at this point. The ferry is free. But the ticket price is $37, and you really can't beat that for this lineup. I want to honor and mention one other artist that's on the bill this year. And that was really important to my mother's vision of illuminating Staten Island talent on this stage with world-class musicians and people who are more well-known. And so we have Julie Maniscalco, who actually studied with Arturo O'Farrell at the New School. She's an educator, wonderful musician. She is also performing. And so, just want to say that it is about, again, honoring those who are veterans and also honoring those who are going to continue to carry this work forward. But $37 for this bill, you cannot beat that. Todd and I go to a lot of different, and as I'm sure you all do also, where you're paying twice that. You have to buy drinks, you have to buy food. It's really, really accessible. And that was also something that was really critical to the mission of Universal Temple of the Arts, is to make this an accessible experience for people from all walks of life. We've given ticket subsidies to seniors this year. We've given free tickets to high school students and community groups. So it's really important for us to make sure that people from, again, all different backgrounds and walks of life participate in this experience.
Excellent. So $37, they get to come. It's 7:00. It runs until everyone's
About
off stage.
10:30, right?
About 10:30. You get to, well, it's jazz. It's jazz. So it's whenever they get off stage.
That's true.
So you'll have an evening of music. Weather is going to be a lot better this weekend than it was this past weekend. So there's that to look forward to. Let's talk a little bit. And thank you for mentioning the Staten Islander folks, because there is a very rich history of Black American culture in Staten Island.
Yes.
One of the 5 hills, or is it 7 hills? 7 hills of Rome, 5 hills here. One of the things that I think is important to note, as you've mentioned, you've had a lot of historical moments that you've been able to document with the festival. And one of the groups that we have Wycliffe Gordon, who has been part of Wynton Marsalis's band since he had a quintet many years ago, the Septet Jazz at Lincoln Center. He's a fine educator, one of the best trombonists around, lots of fun. And I love that you're including him on this bill. You mentioned Brianna Thomas, and another young, wonderful performer, and Sounds of April and Randall, April May Webb and Randall Hayward. Randall also formerly a member of the Jazz at Lincoln Center. And I think he was the youngest trumpet player.
15 years old.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Amazing. And then April May Webb winning last year's Ceravon International Vocal Competition. And they are one of the groups that Gail and I also co-manage in full transparency. And so we're excited that they have this opportunity to perform in Staten Island, where, as I mentioned, there's a very historical Black American presence, culture. I'm wondering if you guys can talk a little bit about, will there be an opportunity for visitors who come to the festival to learn a little bit about our presence, the Black American presence in Staten Island?
That's interesting that you mentioned that. I would say we certainly can highlight that. At one of the institutions that I think you may be talking about, the Sandy Ground Historical Society, was one of the first. It is on the other side of Staten Island, so not close to the St. George Theater, but definitely a community and a museum that we think people should come and check out to find out about that history. They were a long time collaborators with UTA. My mom connected with Sandy Ground many times to help promote the Jazz Festival. As I mentioned, we had a pre-festival workshop that included art. And so the art and that connection was always something that we tried to uplift. I think one of the things that we do at the festival is we really talk about the rich history of jazz, how it has permeated not just entire American society, but throughout the world. And the fact that jazz is often cherished by many communities and peoples, but not in the same way as the African American community. And we really feel like we need to be the purveyors of jazz and lift that up because it's something that we helped to create. And so that is a message that I think we constantly bring home throughout the festival is that this is important music. This is our history, but it's also our future as well. And even though you may not hear jazz on the mainstream, the young people won't hear it on the music stations that they listen to, but it's important that they experience it. And that's why we connect to high schools and try to bring that education component to young people so that they understand that jazz is something that it's embedded in some of the music that they listen to and they just don't know it. And also something that it has a healing component, it has an uplifting component, and something that maybe they could take a break from some of the other music that they're listening to and just enjoy and lift their spirit in a different way. And so I think that that is something that we drive home. But I would love to your point, Karen, as Todd talked about the vision for this being a destination for us as an organization that now is able to have tentacles to different people and places, not just on Staten Island, but throughout the New York metropolitan and other areas, to say, like, listen, there are institutions on Staten Island, including UTA, that you need to check out to learn about the history, and that there are Black people on Staten Island. I think Staten Island, as the fifth borough, is kind of the outlier in a lot of ways, and people don't realize how diverse a community we really are.
You know, can you tell me a little bit about the honors that you're giving during because that's something that's very unique, that you're either having an honors event or you're having a jazz show, and you two have combined it. So tell us about how that came about and who you're honoring this year.
Yeah, we've had honorees pretty much every year since the Jazz Festival's inception. This year, we are honoring the great Antoinette Montague for her work, not just as a jazz vocalist, but also for her community work. Antoinette's done amazing things in the community, including bringing jazz and jazz education into prisons. And so we really wanted to make sure that we honored her for her commitment to jazz and just keeping the music alive and bringing it to diverse audiences. We're also honoring M2. Brother M2 brings jazz every summer into the early fall up at Grant's Tomb on Wednesdays. And he really feels like we do, it's important to keep the music going. And so, connecting with UTA, connecting with institutions like Jazzmobile, to just get the word out and say, hey, we are doing this thing at Grant's Tomb. It's free. Come up and join us. And so we really wanted to honor him for keeping that music alive and the work that he's doing, and bringing that to people for free each summer to bring them some joy. And then Edwina F. Martin, who's the public administrator for Richmond County, we're honoring her because she supports every nonprofit organization on Staten Island. She really does. You see her at all of the galas and events. She really wants to make sure that she contributes, but also, and this is something that our community struggles with, many of our family members make their transition and they don't have wills, or there's no one to care for that estate afterwards. And so that's the job of the public administrator. So she does that, but she's also provided a lot of education in her time in that role to community about being proactive about what to do to prepare for the inevitable. We're all going to make a transition from this planet, and so we need to be prepared. And so she knows that families struggle when they don't have, someone to claim the estate later. And what she says is like, okay, I can support these individuals who have made their transition now, but let me help community members so that they're not in this predicament later on.
And Edwina has been very impactful in providing that kind of information and service to the Staten Island community, as Rashida said. And we've seen firsthand her commitment to the community, and we felt that it was a well-deserved honor to recognize her with the Community Service Award at this festival.
Well, Karen and I are really very proud of the work that you're doing, and really happy that you came on to Alternative Venues for Jazz to tell us about the festival. It sounds like it's going to be amazing, and I wish you every success with this. So again, just as we're closing, I want everyone to see that you have a really good lineup of Arturo O'Farrill and the Afro-Latin Jazz Ensemble. That's going to be amazing. Wycliffe Gordon, who Karen just talked about, who is just, we love him completely. Brianna Thomas Band, she can sing her heart out. So you're going to have a really great time. Sounds of April and Randall is just, they're hot, they're good, they're good looking, everything. And so you're going to have a great time with them. And I think it would be really good to highlight Julie Maniscalco, who is a Staten Islander. And so I know people are going to be looking forward to seeing her. And then on top of it, you've got Sheila Anderson, who's going to be doing MC work. And she is really, really good at doing that. So I wish you all every success.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Tickets are still available. People can go to Ticketmaster if they want to pay for them in advance, and they will be available at the box office. And we just want as many people as possible to experience this amazing lineup. And it all goes to a great cause. The Jazz Festival is just one thing that we do. Arts and education, community workshops. It's going to support things in the long run. So we're really excited about that as well.
Well, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone.
Yes,
Take
happy
care.
holidays.